reason why men don't want to get married. Men don't want to get married because it's not lucrative for them.
It's actually 70%. Yes, that is still high, and here's why women initiate divorces.
If you could choose between getting married or having spicy time every single day, which are you choosing?
Why men are saying no to marriage.
Men are saying no to marriage because the idea of getting robbed legally doesn't please them.
Women initiate divorce over 60% of the time, and if they're college educated, it is over 80% of the time.
Women file for divorce more often than men do.
Like the title says, smart men do not marry.
That is indeed true. A lot of men today won't even entertain the idea of marriage. Kindly subscribe to the channel as it further supports us in our work. Thank you.
Why are young black couples not getting married? Specifically, why are young black men not asking?
Why do so many men feel invisible in their own marriage?
It's that they don't feel like they matter. They don't feel like the effort that they put in is recognized. It's as if everything that they do isn't even noticed. And she might be demanding that he be more of a man, or that he make more decisions, or that he takes the lead. But when he does, he's just told that he does it wrong, and he's made to feel like he should be sitting in the back seat, not even the passenger seat or the driver's seat.
You know, this is for all you hard-working men out there that have to go home to a nagging wife. I really feel bad for y'all. Like, how do you do it? You go to work all day. I'm sure that these same women are the ones that are probably blowing your phone up during the day while you're trying to work, and you're not responding fast enough. You're not giving that attention that they need because they're needy. And so you're getting an earful while you're at work. Then you come home and you get through the door and you're getting the yapping.
I haven't had that problem in 15 years. I stay single. It's better for my sanity. Was the worst thing ever. I couldn't get out of there fast enough. My nagging wife left 10 years ago, and I have to say, I've never been happier. Thank you, honey.
And that's why so many men, they don't want to get married. Again, you look at this contract, right? One person is completely getting incentivized to break that commitment, which in most cases will be the woman. So if they get married and she breaks that commitment, she's getting actually incentivized to break up. A man who's a very rational human being, not an emotionally driven human being, it's a rational human being and a very logical human being. He's like, why would I go with someone where I already know, well, if this person breaks that commitment, it actually serves them. That's not a good foundation to start with in the first place.
Exactly. Why would any man sign a contract that she's incentivized to break? It doesn't make sense. Marriage, as it stands for many men today, has become a gamble where the odds are stacked against them. It's like saying, here's a contract where I take all the risks and you get all the rewards, whether you uphold your end of the deal or not. That's not love or commitment. That's exploitation. And let's be real, some women know this. They go into marriage knowing they have a safety net if things don't work out, which makes it easier for them to walk away without truly trying. This isn't about being anti-marriage. It's about questioning why a man should sign up for a system where his hard work, resources, and emotional investment can be taken away in an instant, often without fair cause.
The quickest way to piss a man off is to say you don't want marriage and you don't want children. You want to see him go from 0 to 100? Just say that. Just say that. I don't want marriage and kids. Watch how mad he gets. Try it.
Expert marriage advice. If your wife has a dream that you cheated on her, go ahead and cheat on her, because your job as a husband is to make all her dreams come true.
Michael, absolutely not.
I posted a video about guys not knowing what they want in their 30s, and let me tell you, the comments have me like shook. The amount of men saying that they don't want to get married because they don't want to have to take care of a woman is like absolutely mind-blowing to me. Like, love is dead. It's dead.
For anyone that has listened to men in the last decade, this should not be surprising. Because let's face it, ladies, men are no longer to expect anything from a woman in marriage. Because when they talk about expectations, especially on social media, they get put through the ringer. And that has leaked into the real world. Like, men have a lot to lose when it comes to relationships, especially marriage. They are expected to give without requiring or wanting or asking for anything in return. A lot of men that have experienced that feeling in a real life relationship that he's been through, he has decided to remain single rather than put himself through that again. And honestly, what he sees on social media just reinforces that. It's really only until he finds a good woman in real life, he finds that unicorn, that will ever be broken down. And that does happen occasionally. But for the rest of the guys, they would rather be single.
It's not marriage we're avoiding, it's divorce. Love is dead, and you ladies killed it. Love is dead because they no longer want to take care of me, bingo. Thought it was supposed to be a partnership. At this point, it ain't even about the money or taking care of them financially. Feels like a mental toll, sadly. I think most women believe that men are just out here looking for someone to take care of, but that's not the case at all, at least not for most men. Many men are looking for partnerships, not just someone to carry financially or emotionally. And honestly, I don't know why it's mind-blowing to her at all. The signs are everywhere. The number one cause of divorce is marriage itself. The act of walking away when things get tough instead of working through them. I mean, did you hear this woman? She said love is dead because a man isn't breaking his back for her. That's just funny and sad at the same time. It's almost like she's saying a man's worth is defined by how much he sacrifices for her. But what is she bringing to the table? The entitlement some people have these days is unbelievable. Instead of focusing on what they can contribute to a relationship, they just keep a running list of what they think they deserve. But here's the kicker. Love isn't dead. It's just that people like her have forgotten what it really means.
You need to be so sure that you're unhappy or that your future would be unhappy together with this person, that therefore other obstacles with unknown people and maybe you'll forever be single is better because at least there's an opportunity for something different.
Can someone explain to me how a man can work all day to keep a woman home nice and comfortable and he'll come home to no punani, no home-cooked meal, and a dirty house? I mean, isn't the whole point of staying home to help make the person who's working all day's life easier?
I don't know if anyone can relate to this, but I've been single for a really long time, and I always have guys asking me like, oh, how's a girl like you single? Like insinuating like I shouldn't be. And I'll tell you why I'm still single. Because my standards are, at this point, they're through the roof. Like, good luck meeting them.
I don't think there's anything wrong with having standards, but I don't really get the flex here. She admits that her standards are through the roof, then tells men good luck meeting them, as if they're actually trying to meet them. I don't think any self-respecting man would be willing to jump through hoops just to meet some arbitrary standards or take on such challenge. Many women think having crazy standards makes them more desirable, but it doesn't. What it really does is make them look insane and completely detached from reality. It's fine to have standards, but when those standards become unrealistic expectations, they turn into a barrier that keeps women single. The problem isn't that men aren't good enough. It's that many women have convinced themselves they deserve the top 1% while bringing nothing comparable to the table.
A lot of divorced women become real estate agents because they finally realize men don't appreciate it when you fix them. Only houses do.
Okay, fellas, if you could choose between getting married or having spicy time every single day, like you push a button, a woman shows up to service you, could be a different woman every day, could be the same woman every day, doesn't fucking matter, but that's it, just spicy time. Which are you choosing? Marriage? Spicy time? And now that I'm asking the question, it seems fucking ridiculous, but this was a very hot topic of conversation at the dinner table with my friends last night. Which is it?
Spicy time. Tired of donating cars and houses. Is this a trick question? No man's choosing option A, ever. I don't even know how this is a real question. Having spicy time or giving up half my stuff. That's such a hard choice. Spicy time. It has been my experience that after marriage, spicy time becomes non-existent. As things stand, with the way dating and marriage are today, most men would choose having spicy time over getting married. And honestly, who can blame them? The risks and responsibilities tied to marriage far outweigh the benefits for men in today's society. It's not that men are afraid of commitment or don't value relationships, it's that the stakes are incredibly high, and the rewards often feel one-sided. Spicy time comes with far fewer strings attached. It's straightforward, no legal contracts, no unrealistic expectations, and no risk of ending up in a courtroom trying to defend your right to the life you've worked hard to build. It's not about being shallow, it's about protecting their peace and avoiding unnecessary drama. And let's be real, marriage used to represent something deeply meaningful. Today, it feels more like a business transaction, or worse, a potential trap. So spicy time it is for most men.
My body count is 1,572. And so I don't think body count should matter, to be honest. Like, I don't know. I've heard a lot of numbers and it just doesn't really matter.
Okay.
Are you speechless?
Yeah, just kind of said you're...
Excuse me, you can't shame people because of their body count.
1,500, whatever the...
72. 72.
That's insane. I'm gonna keep it real.
Just say you're jealous.
Yeah, I'm so jealous.
Why is always the women that's not in a relationship or haven't been in a relationship in umpteen years trying to give relationship advice? Just because your last dude or your past dude treated you piss poorly and treated you like shit does not mean that all men are fucking dogs and just going to cheat on you. Different strokes for different folks, people. Everybody does not experience the same person. So please stop it.
I agree.
And so what we do as women being victims in our relationship and blaming our husbands and blaming men is that we take their behaviors of pulling away because of our emasculating behaviors. And we say, see, look at him. He doesn't pay me attention. He's checked out of the relationship. Or sometimes good men are reactive to our emasculating ways and our walls. And they fight back. And we say, see, look at him. He's angry. He's aggressive. And we put the blame on them. But as soon as we're willing as women to look at ourselves and to drop our walls, to outgrow our emasculating ways,
They'd much rather destroy what they have than to take accountability for their actions. Absolutely. That is why it is very wise to never get married to secure your peace and assets. Worked very hard to have my life. I'm never gonna allow anybody to make me unhappy. Ain't gonna happen. This is exactly what my ex-wife did to me and took everything I had.
Men out there, like the title says, smart men do not marry under any circumstance. It is the dumbest possible move you can make in 2024. Let me tell you why. Well, I'm going to ask you a question first. If you went skydiving, okay, and your instructor said to you, asked you, or told you, said, hey, your parachute has a 50% chance of deploying, would you jump out of that airplane? Okay. I want you to ask that same question about getting married, because 50%, over 50% of marriages fail. First time marriages. Second time marriage, it's like 83% failure rate. That statistic does not even include that 13% of those marriages that do make it are actually romantically like still happy. Like the other ones are sexless and miserable.
I agree.
That is indeed the truth. The idea of marriage for men is becoming something of the past. More and more men are realizing that marriage is a risky deal with little to no reward for them. The traditional concept of marriage, where a man provides and protects while receiving loyalty, support, and a loving partnership in return, has been replaced with a system where men are expected to give everything. With the rise of no-fault divorce, unfair alimony laws, and a dating culture that encourages women to always keep their options open, men are waking up. They've seen too many horror stories of good men losing everything, paying for a lifestyle they're no longer a part of, and barely getting to see their own children. At this point, marriage has become more of a liability than a benefit for men. The irony is that many women still expect men to propose and commit, but they don't want to be traditional wives.
Reason why men don't want to get married. Men don't want to get married because it's not lucrative for them. Why should he get married? So he get wiped out, financially devastated. A man lose a lot of money when he gets a divorce. Divorce is only lucrative for women because women come out on top. It's not worth it for the man. Men don't really want to get married because he's symbolized at the end. But he do it because he loves the woman and he want to please her. Let me explain something. When a man get married, that's the time when a man feel like committing suicide. Okay, that's a high risk for men committing suicide because it's like the end for them. Okay.
I would actually say that suicide rates are high with men because women ruin them financially and take away their children in the legal system, and it's legal for them to do so. I would say, yeah, like they zero out men at about 45 when they've wasted 20, or not wasted, but they've spent 20 years of their life building themselves up, having a family, and women just say, I'm not feeling it today, I'm going to take your children and have your shit. I would say that's the real reason that's suicide. And we have a society of women telling men how to be, like, teaching men how to be women.
Women file for divorce more often than men do for the same reason that dogs escape through the front door more often than people pick up their dog and go dump them on the street. Dogs are captives wanting free. Men don't tend to file for divorce for the same reason that owners of dogs tend to try to prevent them from escaping through the front door. They want a captive pet. It's also why men will stay in a marriage with a woman that they tell everyone they hate. They're not primarily with that woman because they love that woman. They're with that woman because they want a wife. At the baseline, as long as they have a woman who is legally bound to them and stuck there, they have what they want. Men want a wife they feel they own and are entitled to. And women want a loving partner they feel will support and nurture them. That's why men's most common complaints as to why they hate their wife is that she nags or complains about things, talks back. And women's biggest complaint is that their partner, their husband, is toxic, abusive, aggressive, mean. In men's mind, their wife is supposed to obey them and submit to them. And in a woman's mind, their husband is supposed to nurture, love, support them.
Men have far more to lose in divorce, which is why they rarely initiate it. Even when a woman is the one filing, he still ends up shouldering the majority of the consequences, losing his home, paying alimony, child support, and in many cases, even being alienated from his own children. The system is set up in a way that overwhelmingly favors women when marriages end. As for the idea that women are captives in marriage, that's a complete exaggeration. Women have all the leverage to leave whenever they want, and the legal system ensures they walk away with financial benefits more often than not. They can divorce for any reason, whether they're simply bored, unhappy, or chasing a new relationship, without facing the same level of financial or emotional devastation that men do. The real issue isn't about women being trapped in marriage. It's that many modern women want the security of a relationship without the responsibility and effort that comes with it.
70% of divorces are initiated by a woman, by the wife. That means most likely 70% of the 50% that go through divorce were surprised, shocked to find out their wife's not happy. That goes to 90%. 90% if your wife has a college degree or higher. What? Right? Guys who are waiting and thinking things are going to get better or hoping things get better, they get blindsided by a woman who's going to be filing for the divorce. 90% if their wife has a college degree. That's huge statistics. And most of these catch the men off guard. Now, when does this happen? The largest day for divorces to be filed is the Monday after January 1st, the week after January 1st.
Men in this generation don't want girlfriends and wives. They want baby mamas and situationships. Like, they don't want real commitment anymore. They don't want to connect with a woman on a deeper, more emotional level. No, they just want somebody they can do it with without the commitment. They want access to you and your body without the commitments. That way, when they messing with other girls, they could turn around and say, oh, but we not married. We not in a relationship. Why you tripping? And then it doesn't make sense to me because men would say marriage is too much of a commitment, but having a baby's not. Getting 3 different women pregnant is not.
I don't think it's that simple. I think many men in this generation have tried taking that road and got burned by a lot of women, and that's why they've given up on the idea of wives or even dating for a girlfriend. They've seen how modern dating works, where loyalty isn't valued, good men are overlooked, and relationships feel more like transactions than genuine partnerships. For all these women complaining about those kinds of men not committing to them, they're the ones picking them. They chase after the same small percentage of men. Men who have options, men who don't prioritize relationships, and men who don't need to commit because they know they don't have to. So it's not a matter of men not wanting girlfriends or wives. She should have said, "These men that these women are choosing do not want girlfriends or wives nor commitment." I'm sure there's plenty good men out there who want that, and they're being ignored.
Why men are saying no to marriage. A lot of men are tired of feeling undervalued. Society has shifted. Men are now just expected to do everything, provide, protect, lead, being emotionally available, while receiving less appreciation than they ever have. At least society used to speak highly of men constantly. And now what? None of that. It's all negative. In the past, men were respected and appreciated for being good husbands and for being good fathers. And now marriage doesn't even give men any appreciation or validation or security that it once did. He can't even expect the lady he's with to be loyal. Men are saying no to marriage because they just don't see the value in it anymore. And can we blame them? They're tired of just being seen as a provider. And until marriage starts offering men the same love, respect, and commitment, more and more men are just going to keep walking away. Marriage is supposed to be a choice, not an obligation. And men are now choosing themselves.
Women no longer need men to provide for them. And you can disagree with me in the comments, but what I mean by this is that if you're paying her bills and thinking that's enough to keep her, then you got it all twisted. Because I promise you, once you're long gone, those bills are still going to get paid regardless. So what matters to women nowadays is if you're able to support them emotionally and mentally. Don't get me wrong, being able to have some financial freedom because you have someone there supporting you and helping you pay those bills, that's always a plus. But once that's gone, then what? What else can you do for me? That's my question. And men are always like, okay, well, women need to be submissive. Women need to do this. Okay, look, I promise you, if you're leading properly, a woman will submit naturally. A woman, when she feels like she has to tap into that masculine side, she is not going to be submissive to you.
All the traits she mentioned are in the good guys that these women don't want. She mentioned that a man needs to be there for them emotionally and mentally, but these women are not choosing the men who have those qualities. Instead, they chase after men who lack emotional intelligence, are unavailable, or simply don't care enough to provide that level of support. And even when the good men do step up and offer their emotional and mental support, these women often aren't ready to receive such treatment. Many of them are stuck in cycles of chasing toxic relationships or have built up walls that make it hard for them to accept kindness and vulnerability. The truth is, these women often don't know what they actually need in a relationship. They get caught up in their emotions, societal expectations, or unrealistic standards and miss out on the solid dude. And by the way she lied, women will always need men financially because they don't like to pay for their own things as adults for some reason.
Video a few days ago responding to a guy that said men don't share their feelings because they just end up upsetting their woman.
Well, that is one of the many reasons why a lot of men out there choose, in fact, not to share their feelings or emotions with their partner.
And my answer was pretty simple, because sharing your feelings is not the problem.
Oh, so what is the problem?
The problem is that so many of you only want to talk feelings in the middle of an argument.
Imagine.
And a lot of you choose to repress your emotions, but resent your partner for not doing the same.
What? First of all, there is a large difference between a man choosing not to share his emotions and repressing his emotions. Most men actually do feel all the same emotions that women do. They just do not share them. because they're often used against them. But most men, in fact, do not resent women for being able to share their emotions. It's honestly just something that they become accustomed to.
And me saying that out loud seemed to make a lot of men very angry.
Well, I can see why. Making incorrect statements that are used to generalize an entire demographic of people does tend to upset them.
Not getting it used against me, it just ends up stressing her. And now I have two problems. So true. We share our feelings and they get used against us, get ridiculed, and called certain type of names. Lots of reasons why we don't share feelings. Sharing feelings identifies a vulnerability that they will then use as a club to beat you down. I'll say from experience, shared my feelings, and within 2 months, I was no longer in a relationship.
Can we please normalize leaving a marriage, whether you are a male or a female, because you weren't happy in the marriage? Period. The end. No discussion. I often see men, I have yet to see women, complaining about their partner leaving the marriage because they said they weren't happy. And the argument is, you're not supposed to be happy. So in other words, marriage is a prison and you should just bear it because what? Like, why? If someone is in a situation that is making them unhappy, and maybe their partner is a perfectly fine individual, but you know what? Like, it's not the lid to their pot. Sometimes people just change and they can be two great people, but awful together, or maybe not even awful together, just not fulfilling together. Why should someone stay in a situation that is not fulfilling? For what? Like, what is the prize? What is the reward for staying in an unhappy marriage? Is it a participation trophy? Why should someone stay if they are unhappy in the marriage? This idea that marriage is this thing you should stay in because you just should. Why? One life. You have one life. What is the point of doing something if it doesn't make you happy? Yeah, you work on it, right? A lifetime commitment takes lifetime work, but if that other person just isn't making you happy, they're not your person, then get out. And it's totally okay. Normalize leaving unhappy marriages for the sake of finding happiness somewhere else.
I think many people misunderstand what marriage is truly about. Marriage isn't just about whether you're happy or not. Now, I'm not saying that you should be miserable in your marriage. That's not the point at all. What I'm saying is that marrying solely for happiness is a big mistake. And that's a mistake many women make. And that's why many of them end up filing for divorce. They think marriage is supposed to be an endless stream of joy and excitement, but when the reality hits and challenges arise, they believe it's not worth it anymore. In any long-term relationship, especially marriage, there will be ups and downs. No one can guarantee perpetual happiness. There will be hardships, disagreements, and tough moments. But what makes marriage work is the willingness to stick together, work through the hard times, and grow as individuals and as a couple. It's about learning to navigate life's complexities together, not expecting the marriage to be a constant source of joy. If happiness is the only thing driving a marriage, then when that happiness fades or when life gets hard, many people will start questioning if it's worth it or just walk away.
Do y'all even want to be husbands anymore? Or to just decide against it?
Let me try and explain what's happening. They're being friend-zoned, and they're seeing their buddies lose everything in divorce, including their kids. They don't feel like we want them anymore because we're too busy entertaining the F-boys and the douchebags. Because we've been told that exciting sex is what makes a relationship great. And our throwaway culture makes us run away from conflict. So yeah, they're giving up too.
This is a PSA for anyone who's single in Melbourne.
go to the breath house on a Wednesday night. I walked in and I was like, oh my God. Men outnumbered women by far, and good looking men.
How old are you?
23.
Are you single?
Yes.
Why do you think that is?
Because I love life.
So you're not looking for a man now, or no? Why not?
Because I'm just okay. Right now I'm living, I'm only 23. Life is short.
Do you want to settle down one day eventually, or no?
Yeah, probably like before I'm 30, 35.
So 35 is like the sweet spot. Let's get married, let's have kids.
Yeah.
But what do you plan on doing up until then?
Living my life. Traveling, accomplishing goals in life, making money, just building a future for myself and whatever comes with it.
But be honest, you're 35. Do you think that men are going to be going for a woman who's that age, or are they going to be going for the younger girls?
I see it go always. It just depends. Everyone does it. There's people getting married at like 60 and 70 nowadays. Who cares?
Doesn't mean that you want to be married at 60, though.
That doesn't matter. Whatever life brings me. I'm not, some people are too focused on finding love, and I'm not really one of those people.
Well, at least we know who will be part of the 2030 statistic. It's crazy that so many younger women are poisoned by this mindset, having fun throughout their 20s and then expecting to settle down later on, as if men will just be waiting around for them. And mind you, this woman is only 23 years old, yet she's already planning to look for a husband at 35, but that's not how it works at all. The only thing these types of women will be looking back on is these moments, wishing they had made different choices. By the time they realize that youth and beauty don't last forever, the men they once ignored will have long since moved on. The harsh reality is that the options they have now won't be there later. And when these women hit 35, they won't be choosing a husband. They'll be struggling to find one. The dating market isn't as forgiving as they think. The high-value men they desire will have standards too, and they won't be lining up for women who spent years playing games and only decided to settle down when it was convenient for them.
Marriage is one of the greatest scams placed on women. They really got into our heads, manipulated and brainwashed us to think that this is what we love, this was going to be good for us, we were going to be happy doing this. Having a man in our bed, constantly having access to our body so that he could use for his selfish reasons. He goes to work, builds his career while I stay home, do slave labor. That isn't giving me any kind of investment in myself. But I'm supposed to be happy. They're constantly thinking what they can get out of the world, from their business, from their job, from you. But the moment we speak up and say, hey, Mr. Man, what are you going to give to me? What's in it for me? We're selfish. We're not feminine. We're not nurturing. We're not loving. That's called guilt tripping. Any form of guilt tripping, be wary of that person. They're trying to get something from you that isn't theirs to take. We're done with guilt tripping, manipulation, lies. At the end of the day, we are trying to survive, and sometimes it is beneficial to live with somebody. But we're not bitches because we ask, what's in it for me? Because if there isn't anything in it for me, we should be able to say no. Super excited for the world that's coming, where we have robots to watch over us. We won't need men in our house. We'll have everything at our fingertips, ladies. Men can be something that is for enjoyment, if we actually enjoy you.
Sorry to burst your bubble, but statistics show that marriage is actually good for women, and they benefit from it significantly. So it's not really a scam, at least not for them. Women gain stability, financial security, and social benefits from marriage, while men often take on the bulk of the responsibilities. Studies show that married women generally experience higher financial well-being, live longer, and have a lower risk of poverty, especially after having children. Meanwhile, divorced women often receive alimony, child support, and favorable custody arrangements, ensuring they continue to be supported even after the marriage ends. So, while marriage may not be a scam for women, it certainly feels like a losing deal for many men, especially in a modern world where traditional gender roles are rejected, but traditional expectations on men remain. That's exactly why more men are opting out, realizing that the risks far outweigh the rewards.
I just wanted you to know that if a guy said he doesn't want a relationship with you, he just doesn't like you enough. Because I promise you, if Megan Fox from Transformers asked him if he wanted to date, he would say yes. He just doesn't like you enough. I'm sorry.
And guess what? She's 100% correct. He doesn't want a relationship with you, hence why he's point blank telling you that. Why? Most likely because you aren't bringing anything to the table that he's even remotely interested in. Because while you think this is what men want, and thus this is all you need to offer, hence the Megan Fox reference, the reality is that this means very little to men when it comes to seeking a woman to marry or be in a relationship with. You see, what he really wants is a woman who will appreciate him, acknowledge him, respect him, and who won't fill his life with endless drama and demands. Things most of today's modern women not only don't offer, but flat out refuse to offer because, you know, they have this. Oh, and as to the aforementioned Megan Fox, yeah, men might be willing to date her, but be in a relationship with her? Well, I hate to break it to you kids, but no. She's nuttier than a fruitcake.
If a guy doesn't want to continue a relationship with a woman, it's likely because of two things. She either complicates his life or doesn't bring the qualities he values. Men don't ask for much in relationships. It takes the simplest things to make a man happy. It's not about extravagant gestures or constant praise. It's about being valued for who they are and feeling like their efforts are acknowledged. Men thrive in relationships where they're treated with kindness and where their contributions are respected, no matter how big or small. For most men, peace is a top priority. They want a relationship that feels like a safe haven, not a battlefield. If a woman constantly brings drama, conflict, or negativity, it wears a man down over time. Men are problem solvers by nature, and if being with someone feels like an endless cycle of issues with no resolution, it's only a matter of time before they walk away.